Welcome on in. It is the Sports Wrap right here on 95.3 WCHE. Another awesome computer corner and pet buzz that led you up to the Sports Wrap, which you can listen to every single Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m., where I'm going to lead you up to Chris Nagopian show. So you're going to keep it locked in every Saturday morning here on WCHE. You can listen on your FM dial at 95.3 FM and online at 95.3WCHE.com. And it's Francisco Rojas. And, man, there's a lot to get to on today's show. A lot great March Madness, not just the men and women's, too. A buzzer beater last night, which we'll get to in just a little bit. WCU Athletics will be welcoming in a new Hall of Fame class, so we'll touch on that. And MLB opening day happened. MLB opening days with an S because it's spread out over multiple days now with honestly all 30 teams playing over 3 days with their first games happening with the new opening night. I'll give you my opinion on how they have the opening night now, or at least doing it this season. And, we'll get to NBA and NHL playoff scenarios as well. So there's a lot to get to. But starting with Philadelphia sports, of course, Philadelphia Phillies. The Phils get a nice victory on opening day, winning 5-3 over the Texas Rangers. Man, Christopher Sanchez looking like Christopher Sanchez. You get a couple of homers, of course, from Kyle Schwarber in his first at-bat. It's just what you expect at this point. Pretty sure in his first at-bat as a Philly against the A's, pretty sure he led off the game with a home run 4 years ago, right? In 2022. And so Schwarber hits a 2-run bomb in the first inning, and then Alec Boehm hits the 3-run homer in the fifth inning. And it was a little dicey at the end with Kyle Backus coming in as his command really looked off on his sweeper. And he did not look good and ends up giving up a home run, as well as Bryson Stott not playing, making a great effort defensively in the field. But nonetheless, the Phillies get a nice 5-3 victory on opening day. They'll be back at it today at 4:05 with Aaron Nola on the mound against Jacob deGrom for the Rangers. So my takeaways from opening day. Takeaways, I have 4 for you. I probably have more, but I don't want to get into, I'm not going to list like 8 or 9 takeaways, but we will get into about 4 of these right here. And starting with number 1, pretty obvious. Christopher Sanchez looking like he's in midseason form already. He got 13 whiffs on the day, 10 strikeouts, only 3 hits allowed in 6 innings. Maybe felt like he could have gone another inning, but I like what we saw from Christopher Sanchez coming off his performance against Korea in the World Baseball Classic. I think it was pretty obvious from the start that Sanchez didn't even really need to settle in. It seemed like the World Baseball Classic, his last start in the WBC, kind of got him ready for this outing on opening day, and he looked really good. So Christopher Sanchez, my first takeaway, Christopher Sanchez already looking like he's in midseason form. He's going to be one of the best pitchers in baseball once again. I feel pretty good about that. So Sanchi already looking like he is ready to go. Second one, man, Kyle Schwarber, this guy's going to hit 50-plus again if he really wants to. I think if Kyle Schwarber really wants to, he's just having fun out there, man. I'm telling you. He's just having fun out there. He loves being the Schwarbarian, they're calling him. He looks like the modern-day Babe Ruth out there. The way he swings the bat, the way he hits these graceful bombs, if that's how I can put it. And I just feel like if he wants to, he can hit at least 50 home runs again. And if he does, man, we're going to start really talking about this guy being on the way to the Hall of Fame. That's what I think. Because if he hits 50 again, man, if he hits 50 again, he's close to 400. If he surpasses 56 from last year and gets to like 60, then we're talking about we are talking about breaking the Phillies single season record, which we were talking about last year, but came up a little short on the last week of the season. But he'd be breaking the Phillies record, and he'd be at 400 home runs for his career. And we were really starting to talk about this guy, which would be tough, for a DH to get in the Hall of Fame. But I think if you hit 500 home runs, I think that's your path to the Hall of Fame. I think you hit 500. I mean, there's not a major league hitter in the Hall of Fame. Well, yeah, steroid era. Okay, outside of the steroid era and guys like that, there aren't unless there's a few that are leaving my mind. There aren't many guys in the Hall of Fame that have 500 home runs. Let's just put it that way. So Schwarber, I mean, this guy can really have an MVP-like year again if he wants to, I think. Number 3, we can go away from the veterans for a second. Justin Crawford. I love the thing that stood out to me, of course, getting 2 hits in the game, and I thought he looked pretty solid out in center field. Oh, I mean, coinciding with that, I just love the confidence he played with. Swinging on the first pitch, getting a hit out of the gate on the first pitch. He didn't look like he was too jittery out there. I'm sure he probably was to a certain capacity, and in a certain capacity. But he didn't look too phased. Not only is it opening day, I think any player is jittery and is excited and nervous on opening day. This guy, I mean, this is his major league debut. Justin Crawford, getting 2 hits in the game. He, again, swings and gets a hit on his first pitch. And, he makes a play, make a couple of plays out in center field. Nothing crazy. But, I think he played a ball off the wall out in center field. And that can be tough to get used to, especially when you're, in game, in a new stadium for you. And he didn't look like he was phased out there at all. Gets the ball in like it's nothing. I remember Chase DeLauder, who had a crazy regular season debut for the Guardians a couple of days ago, hitting a couple of home runs. But I remember Chase DeLauder last season in the playoffs for the Guardians. This guy's one of the top-ranked prospects for the Guardians and in all of baseball. And he debuts for the Guardians and has trouble with the ball out in the outfield. I don't even think it was because of the sun or anything like that, or at least I don't remember. DeLauder looked like, okay, he's a little nervous. For his first time. I mean, and why wouldn't you be? I mean, it's the playoffs and it's your debut. That's insane. It's a little different, but I'm just saying that Crawford, the confidence, I just loved it so much. And last thing, good day for the daycare, man. Good day for the daycare, man. Bohm hitting the 3-run homer. Brandon Marsh, couple of doubles, and Bryson Stott, couple of hits out there in the 5-hole. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to work out. That's probably what the lineup is going to be for the most part, at least to start. So Stott in the 5-hole, getting a couple of hits. Again, Bohm, the 3-run homer and walks, and then Brandon Marsh, a couple of doubles. And again, they were my big X factor to start the year, was going to be the daycare, because I think those 3 guys in the lineup can make a difference if they're playing and hitting well, and defensively, of course. And just overall feelings after opening day. I mean, they didn't really change too much for me. The way they won this game is how I think they're going to win a lot of games. It's going to be the formula for them this season. I think they have a solid to a good offense, and they have really good starting pitching, and maybe a bullpen. The bullpen was obviously a reason why I got close there for a second. But I think they have a solid bullpen, and maybe there's not going to be too many days like that, but maybe there will be some, and that's just kind of how baseball goes in general. But I think this is the formula for them to win. I still think they're the best team in the National League East. There's nothing crazy. I don't have a big, huge take on the game. It's just one game. There's certain things I was trying to see if I could come up with a super big takeaway from the game. I'm just being honest, man. It was opening day. There's not much to really get too worked up about. We've seen it last 3 or 4 years from the Phillies. They're going to be a good team. I think they're going to win 90-plus games and win this division. And, yes, the Braves had a good opening day. The Mets had a really good one. They get Paul Skeens out of there in less than an inning. But I don't know. I'm kind of in wait-and-see mode from those teams. So we shall see. All right, so that's what I have for you on the Phil's opening day. It was a good day, and I'm excited. I am excited for the rest of the season. I know, man. Look, and one last thing. There's actually another thing I want to mention on the Phils, but another thing is, for the whole, I'm just gonna wait and see until October crowd. Like, you're allowed to do whatever you want. All I'm gonna say is this, man. Is like, and maybe you don't really care. It's like, just be honest. Like, are you a real fan? If you're like, okay, just waiting, I'm not gonna watch until October, then you're not an actual real fan. Like, enjoy the regular season at the end of the day. Because I'm sitting there and I'm like, watching yesterday, I'm like, oh, well, we know how it goes in the playoffs, and I don't trust this team in the playoffs. I'm like, am I going to do this here, sit do this here all year long? Am I really going to do that? Like, we're entitled to feel that way. Like, I'm entitled to feel that way if I want to. You're entitled to feel that way. You're entitled to feel differently. But enjoy the regular season because, look, Sanchez has the game he has. And again, I know we're beating a dead horse, but the Phillies been around since 1883. Don't have too many years or too many stretch runs where we're a really good baseball team and maybe can be in contention for a title. And, teams like the Rangers, who I think the Rangers and maybe a lot of other years don't win the World Series, but in 2023 they did. Not to take anything away from them. But, you never know. Never know if they can make a run or not. It's baseball, too. So, last thing there, just enjoy the regular season. I know it can be tough. I know it can be tough considering how they've fared the last couple of postseasons. I totally get it. So sticking with the Phils, I don't know if you've heard, but Harry the K's is no longer Harry the K's. It is now the Ghost Energy deck. And Harry Kalas's widow has actually spoken out about this. She says, quote, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer, quote, the Phillies betrayed Harry by selling the naming rights for Harry the K's. And so she's really hurt by it. She's really hurt by it because she feels like, Harry and the fans have always had this, connection, which they have. And she feels like, not having Harry the K's there, not having the statue there is a big deal. And it's not I don't love it. So yeah, I don't love it. And Eileen Callis also said that the Phils won't be able to play High Hopes next season unless she's paid. I don't know how that works out. The Phillies want to play it, but she's like, well, you're not going to play it unless you pay me. So that's that's something, man. This is definitely a situation to monitor. Again, this is obviously a money thing, and Harry the K's is something I think that a lot of Phillies fans have loved, and I've loved, and however long it's been there. It's don't love it, but just definitely a situation to monitor, as Eileen Callis says the Phillies won't be able to play High Hopes next season unless she is paid. So, yeah, that's the situation right there on Harry the K's. Jeff Stoutland, moving on to the Eagles. Jeff Stoutland addressed his first time, for the first time he addresses his Eagles departure since, almost a couple of months ago, since announcing on Twitter that he would be leaving the Philadelphia Eagles. He went on the season with Nick Foles and Evan Moore, their podcast, and he spoke about his departure. He didn't say too many crazy things, but he did explain a little bit the why as he left. This is the quote from NBC Sports Philadelphia from the podcast. He says, I've done this for a very long time, as I've said. 30 years in college, 13 years in the NFL, so a lot of players will ask me along the way, hey, coach, can we talk? Or whatever. And they have the thought of maybe not playing football in college any longer, of if a guy is thinking about retiring in the National Football League. So I've had these conversations with these players. I always say, look, I can't tell you what you should do or are going to do. I have no idea. That's not right for me to say that. But I always say this. I think there's some point in your life where you kind of know. You just kind of know. And Stoutland goes on to say, I think I reached that point. I was in a position where a lot of things changed. Things were happening. Things had taken place. And I'm like, wait a second. This is what I talk to other players about all the time. I just felt like it was that time. I haven't looked back since. I know there's things that I'll miss, but I know there's going to be some exciting things going forward and opportunities and challenges. And that's kind of what I'm all about. And speaking about moving forward, he did announce where Lane Johnson went on the Fitz and Whip podcast and said he thinks Stoutland will be around in some capacity this year for the Eagles. And Foles and Moore asked him about that. He said, I have no idea, Stoutland said. I haven't had a conversation with anybody about anything like that. I don't know. But Lane and I, we came in together in 2013. That was the Chip Kelly first year. I always think we felt like we'd end up leaving together as well. I don't know. There was almost a silent agreement, kind of, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. So, yeah, again, there's not like too many, maybe you can surmise from certain things. Like, there was a report that Stoutland got demoted a little bit or, lost some of his privileges and with the run game last year and everything like that. And you can kind of surmise from what Stoutland said in some of those comments there about, things changing, things were happening, had taken place, maybe stuff like that. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Stoutland sticks around, according to Lane, and he didn't really give like a concrete answer there. But it's Jeff Stoutland speaking on the Eagles' departure for the first time on Nick Foles and Evan Moore's podcast. Couple more things. So Flyers and Sixers. Flyers Red Wings tonight. Big game for the Flyers. It's been a lot of big games for the Flyers lately. And, they had a game against the Columbus Blue Jackets this past week, and they lost 3-2. Didn't seem like there was much juice. It seems like in these moments when the Flyers need it, it seems like they're not getting it. It seems like they're not necessarily getting it. I went to the game a couple of weeks ago against New York, against the Rangers, where the Rangers are one of the worst teams in the NHL. And they lost 6-2, and they got destroyed. I mean, it was not close from the start. And that was a game, every game you need at this point. And that was a game, it's like, okay, well, they should win this game. Like, no doubt. Seems like they get momentum. They go on these winning streaks, and then they just halt. And it's like, come on, man. And same thing against the Blue Jackets. Past couple times they played them, they lost a couple weeks ago against Columbus 2-1, and then they lose to Columbus this past week 3-2, and they beat Chicago on Thursday, and that was great. 5-1 victory. I mean, Chicago's not all that good this year, and we'll see, man. Now they got Detroit. I mean, another big game. Detroit is right now, they're in the hunt just ahead of the Flyers. I mean, they're at 86 points. Flyers are at 82 points, so this is a big game for them. This is a big game for the Flyers, big game for Detroit as well, so this is a huge game for both teams. And some other games we're watching for today as the Flyers are trying to make a playoff push. The Bruins, who hold the top spot in the wild card for the Eastern Conference, they're going to be playing against Minnesota today at 5. Florida, the Panthers will be playing against the New York Islanders at 1 o'clock. Florida just decimated with injuries this year, back-to-back Stanley Cup champs, but they'll be playing against the Islanders. Islanders holding that second wild card spot with 87 points, right behind the Bruins. So that's obviously a game to watch. And then Ottawa's going to take on Tampa Bay. Hopefully that's going to mean a loss for Ottawa, because Ottawa's right there behind the Islanders at 86 points and a couple of spots in front of the Flyers for the wild card. So that's definitely a game we're watching. And then the Blue Jackets will be playing in San Jose at 5 o'clock. So that's another game definitely to monitor. 5 o'clock. San Jose against CBJ, as CBJ holds the third spot in the Metropolitan right now. So a lot of games on today. A lot of games you're watching. I want to see if Washington is playing. Yeah, Washington is playing tonight at 10:30 against Vegas, and Washington is right behind the Flyers with 81 points. So a lot of games to watch today. If you're a Philadelphia Flyers fan, it's they're going to need to get a lot of good point production from your top guys in Zegras, Michkov, Tippett. You would hope Sean Couturier is still that guy, but he really hasn't been this year. TK, of course, Dvorak. You're going to need that from those guys, and you're going to need good goaltending play. They've gotten good goaltending play out of Sam Ersson lately, so I would think we're going to see Vladar back in net tonight, but we shall see. Tonight at 8 o'clock. But I am excited for the game, 8 o'clock tonight against the Detroit Red Wings on ABC. So excited for that against Detroit. Other things to note, Paul George came back for the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid came back as well. They scored the most points in, I don't know if franchise history, but in a long time for the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel had 35, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Paul George at 28 in his return from suspension. And the Philadelphia 76ers get a really good win against the not so great Chicago Bulls. But they'll be going up against the Hornets today at 6 o'clock. It's going to be a big game for the Sixers. It's tough, man. I don't know if they can really make a playoff run just because of the injuries. But you can't really tank because that top 4 protected pick. So it's going to be rough. But they do have a big game here against the Charlotte Hornets at 6 o'clock, as they're the 8th seed. The Sixers are the 7th seed. So we will see. The Sixers take on the Hornets, and then Atlanta's right in front of them. They're 12.5 games back of the first spot in the East, and they will take on Sacramento. So that's another game to watch. And is Orlando playing today? They are not. So, okay. All right. Coming up, got into baseball in the first segment here, talking Phils. Got some more baseball to get into. We're going to recap opening day, some crazy things that happened. Also, another crazy thing, Tiger Woods involved in another car crash. So we'll update you on what happened yesterday. So that's coming up right here on 95.3 WCHE. Welcome back. It is 95.3 WCHE. You can listen to this show every 10 to 11 a.m. every Saturday. 95.3WCHE.com, as well as on the radio 95.3 FM. And you can also podcast it. So if you go to 95.3WCHE.com, you click on the podcast category, and you scroll down, you'll see a bunch of shows. All politics are local. Home field advantage. You'll also see the WCHE Morning Show podcast, as well as a Sports Wrap with Francisco Rojas. And you can listen to last week's show if you want. You can listen to the past shows. You can listen to whatever you feel like listening to. But the Sports Wrap is podcasted every single week. So, tune in. And if you can't tune in at this time, maybe you're going to tune in for a little bit. We want to listen to the rest of the show. It's podcasted. So, yes. All right, first thing to start is, man, again, we've gotten just, great. I think it's been a great March Madness, man. This has been awesome, and we got some really good games yesterday, man. Duke and St. John's coming down to the wire. After St. John's, hit a tying 3 late, and Duke ends up winning that game 80-75. Michigan holding off Alabama 90-77. UConn in a thriller against Michigan State. It's good for my bracket. UConn beating Michigan State 67-63. And then Tennessee over Iowa State 76-62. By the way, it is, I know somebody might hate me. I am a Duke fan. Is it bad? I actually don't have them winning the tournament, which is crazy because they're one of the favorites. They're one of the big favorites, even with the injuries. I have them losing to UConn in the next round. So it's worked out so far. So it's one of those things. I've only done one bracket this year. Usually I'll do like a main bracket where I try to be objective as possible. And then I do a Duke bracket. I also do like a Nova bracket usually. And I didn't do the Duke and Nova brackets this year. I just kind of didn't have time to do it. But like I feel weird because like obviously I want Duke to beat UConn, but also I'm in a pool. I'm in a bracket pool, and like there's some money at stake. So it's one of those things where it's like, man, I should have just picked Duke from the start. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know, man. Am I a fraud for that? I don't know. It's just weird because like I want to root for Duke, but I'm also like, man, if they lose, like, good. Like it's weird. I don't know, man. Just makes me feel weird as a fan. Just being honest. So I don't know, man. Just a weird thing, but yeah. So now we have the Elite Eight sets. We have the Elite Eight, and so it's gonna be Duke, UConn, like I mentioned, Iowa, Illinois, and by the way, Danny Hurley doesn't get what he wants. He wanted good UConn, St. John's because he wanted the bloodbath. Like, congratulations, you don't get St. John's, you get Duke. Iowa, Illinois. Iowa coming off a win against Nebraska. That was a big one. I mean, Florida, that was a big one too, obviously. I mean, they're all big ones for Iowa because they've all been technical. Well, Clemson wasn't upset. They're an 8 seed. But Iowa, man, looking like a little bit of Cinderella. I don't know. They're in the Elite Eight. It's pretty awesome. So Iowa, Illinois, which will be tonight at 6 o'clock. Duke, UConn will be tomorrow at 5:05. And then on the other side, have Arizona winning it all. Arizona's going to play the 2 seed Purdue in that region, and they're going to face off tonight at 8:49, and then Michigan and Tennessee. Michigan-Tennessee today at 2 o'clock. So a lot of good games happening today and tomorrow with the Elite Eight. So again, the Elite Eight, it's Duke, UConn, Iowa, Illinois, and then Iowa, Illinois, Michigan, Tennessee, and then Arizona, Purdue. So it's a pretty good Elite Eight. Pretty good Elite Eight, I would say. And, you got a lot of top teams there. You got the 1-2 matchups with Duke, UConn, Arizona, Purdue. 1-6 matchup, Michigan, Tennessee. And the 3-9 with Illinois, Iowa. So it's a good variety, I would say. You get some of the top matchups with the Duke, UConns, and Arizona, Purdue's. And then the Iowa, Illinois, Michigan, Tennessee. Michigan still get the 1 seed there. But you get potential, the Cinderella story maybe in Iowa. Tennessee, which isn't just like a super big Cinderella story, but still, outside seed. So there, you get good variety, I would say, with March Madness at this point to the Elite Eight. And like I said, man, so great games this entire tournament. It's really, really been good so far. All right. MLB opening day. You had opening night where the Yankees beat the Giants on, the first, I don't know if in my lifetime there's ever opening night. Like, we it's always been opening day, right? And, you got almost every team playing on opening day. You have every team will play on opening day, right? It's always been every team plays on opening day, I'm pretty sure. And didn't have that this year. You had opening night. The Yankees beat the Giants 7-0. And then you had a whole bunch happen on Thursday, where Paul Skeens ends up getting pulled outside of 2 innings. But I'll get to Thursday in a second. Man, I do want to talk about opening night. Like, how do people feel about opening night? I'm curious how people feel because I saw that there were a lot of a good amount of fans that were like pissed off about that were a little pissed off about the having an opening night and not having opening day games. And I kind of like it. I like the idea of having the opening night. It kind of puts more of a spectacle on those games. or excuse me, on opening night. It puts more of a spectacle on opening night, and I don't know. It's kind of like NFL style where you get these, where you have opening night, and just like the NFL, they'll have like the Chiefs versus another team, or like a marquee matchup. You'll have the Super Bowl winner versus another team. Now, this wasn't the same way. You didn't have like the Dodgers playing another team on opening night, but you had the Yankees and Giants. I just liked having that spectacle, and then you have opening day the next day. The one thing I will say is that why can't every other team play on opening day the next day? Like, I don't know. I mean, do you have it spread out over 3 days now? Or at least this year you're having it spread out over 3 days, where a lot of teams play the next day on Thursday, but then on Friday you have, the Braves and the Rays play, and then you had the Athletics and the or there's the Braves. Sorry, I was looking at another date. The Braves and the Royals, the Athletics and the Blue Jays, and then you had, I think it was Miami and Colorado. I think those are the other teams that didn't play yet. And I don't know. Maybe do we? I think maybe it makes more sense to have the opening night and then have every other team play the next day on opening day. It's still have that opening day feel. I don't know. It was like kind of weird that you had opening night or opening day / night, whatever you want to call it, and then you have couple of teams that didn't play yet play 2 days later. I don't know. It still kind of feels weird. But, man, you had a lot on opening day. You had a lot happen. And, man, the Mets get to Paul Skeens in the first inning. I mean, look, if O'Neal Cruz probably makes a couple better plays out in the outfield, maybe we're not having this discussion. But Paul Skeens doesn't even get out of the first. I mean, one of the more like shocking wow moments that I can remember on opening day is Paul Skeens, who wins the Cy Young last year. I mean, comes into Major League Baseball and is one of the best pitchers already and looking like he's going to be future Hall of Famer, one of the best pitchers for years to come. Doesn't even make it out of the first inning. 37 pitches. I know the bad defensive plays, but still crazy though. Still crazy. Expect this guy to come in and be, he's going to be one of the tougher pitchers to face on opening day and doesn't even get it done. I was looking at his opening day last year. He didn't have a great opening day either, but it was like solid. So yeah, the Pirates, they get smoked. Well, not smoked because Brandon Lau had a big game, 2 home runs, and looks like he's going to provide some power for the Pirates in the middle of that lineup. But you had that. You had a lot of the young guys too. You had Crawford, a couple of hits, Justin Crawford. You had J.J. Weatherholt, who I think made robbed someone of a home run, and also hits his first career major league dinger, and it goes out to center field, 425. And the ball was like 3 inches off the plate, outside of the plate. It was insane. You had him. You had Kevin McGonigal, who had 3 doubles for the Tigers in his debut, and had a go ahead hit yesterday. I mean, this guy is going to be amazing. It looks like he was 4 for 5. Sorry, 4 for 5 with a couple of doubles and 2 RBI against the Padres in his debut. He had Chase DeLauder as well, hit 2 home runs for Cleveland. And there's one guy I'm missing, and it's going to kill me. So I had to Weatherholt, DeLauder, Crawford, McGonigal. There's someone else I'm missing, I feel like. Maybe it'll come back to me. I think it was Carson Bench from the Mets. So him too. I mean, all these young guys for Major League Baseball. It's great for the future of baseball. I love it. So it's great to see those guys perform on day one of opening day. Dodgers got their first win of the season. They're 2-0. They got a win last night as well. Edwin Diaz had his first entrance coming out from the bullpen for the Dodgers. But the Dodgers won 8-2 against Arizona. The Angels shut out the Astros 3-0. Boston 3-0 over the Reds. Garrett Crochet had a really good Opening day start for the Red Sox, coming off his almost Cy Young season last year. Washington beat the Cubs 10-4 in Wrigley, and then the Brewers 14-2, just blowing out the White Sox. And then yesterday you had the Blue Jays coming off their American League Championship, almost winning the World Series, 3-2 victory for the Blue Jays over the Athletics. Also, Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton getting their first home runs of the year over the Giants yesterday. The Marlins going up against the Rockies, a 2-1 win there. Atlanta, 6-0 victory over the Kansas City Royals. So, a lot of good baseball in the first couple of days, man. A lot of good baseball that we saw. Okay, next thing, man, Tiger Woods. It has been rough. I mean, it's really been, I would say, a lot of rough moments for Tiger Woods in the last 15 to 16 years. I guess was that 2009 when that 2010 when when it came out. I mean that he cheated on his wife with a lot of girls and a lot of different women. And ever since then, it's been really rocky for Tiger Woods. Outside of that 2019 Masters win, outside of that, it's been rough. You had he was asleep at the wheel a couple years ago. I think it was 2021, and then there was the really bad car crash. I think it was 2017. I don't know if I'm getting those mixed up, but and then you have this situation on yesterday where Tiger Woods arrested on suspicion of DUI after he was involved in a car crash not far from his home on Jupiter Island in Florida, according to Martin County Sheriff John Budenzik. And man, so he was driving a Land Rover northbound on South Beach Road at a high speed when he attempted to pass a truck hauling a pressure cleaner, which had slowed to turn into a driveway. His SUV swerved to avoid the truck but clipped the back of the trailer. Land Rover flipped on its side and slid down the road. Woods climbed out of the passenger window to get out. No one was injured, thank goodness. Accident occurred around 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So he was arrested on a suspicion of misdemeanor DUI with property damage and refusal to submit a lawful test. He went to jail at 3 p.m., was released on bail later yesterday. According to Christine Weiss, a spokesperson for the Martin County Sheriff's Office, Florida law required that he spend at least 8 hours in jail before he could post bail. And by the way, they did several tests on him. No alcohol detected. But you wonder if it's something medication-wise, drug-wise. He's had a lot of injuries, and maybe this is related to something medical, maybe painkillers, something like that. I don't know. But man, I mean, it's really been rough. He might need to get his license revoked or something. I mean, this is like another incident. It's been a lot of incidents now. So, man, Tiger Woods, not a great situation. So that's the latest on Tiger. Also, a couple of other things. Let's get to some NBA and NHL playoff scenarios. So, right now, if the NHL playoffs were to start today, looking at the Western Conference, it would be Colorado versus Nashville, Dallas against Minnesota, Anaheim versus the Utah Mammoth, and then the Oilers, who are without Leon Draisaitl for the rest of the year, versus the Vegas Golden Knights on that side. And then on the other side, on the Eastern Conference, would be Buffalo versus Boston, Tampa Bay versus Montreal, Carolina versus the Islanders, and then Pittsburgh versus the Blue Jackets. And there's a lot to be desired still in the NHL playoffs as, there's a lot going on as far as points go. Just it's a close race. Ottawa go right up behind, the Islanders and the Bruins. Same thing with Detroit. I mean, this thing could change in the matter of a couple of games. You just don't know here. And then, the same thing on the other side. The Kings are right behind the Predators. They're 76 points. The Kraken are at 74 points. Utah right now at 80 points with the first wild card spot in the West. I mean, things can change. Colorado and Dallas have already clinched playoff spots. No one has clinched a playoff spot yet in the East. So, getting down the stretch here, man. Both the NBA and NHL playoffs start April 18th, I believe. April 18th. Both start those days. NBA playoff standings. In the Eastern Conference, the Pistons have secured a playoff spot. The only one in the East to do so at 53-20, but obviously the injury to Cade Cunningham, where he would come back, probably be ready for the playoffs or some time in the playoffs, but still hurts them there. You would expect maybe Boston to come there and maybe swap up that number one seed. Western Conference, you have the Thunder and the Spurs, who have both clinched their divisions and both clinched playoff spots. Thunder with the best record in the NBA with the 58-16 record. San Antonio right behind them at 55-18. Victor Wembanyama, who is number one in the NBA's Kia ladder MVP race. So Wemby is looking like he could maybe win that MVP, and that would be really awesome for him and the league and the Spurs, of course. And so Lakers right now in the West with that 3 seed. They've been hot as of late, 48-26. Would go up against the Rockets right now if the playoffs were to start today. Nuggets would go up against the T-Wolves, 47-28 Nuggets versus the 45-28 T-Wolves. That would be a fun matchup to watch in the first round. It would be Spurs, Suns, and then Clippers, Thunder in that first round. So we'll see. East, it would be Pistons, Hornets, Celtics, Sixers, Knicks, Hawks, and then the Cavs and the Raptors. So those are your playoff standings as of right now, and kind of the scenarios we're looking towards. So definitely watching that over the next 3 to 4 weeks. Next thing I wanted to get to, man, big buzzer beater yesterday, or I guess this morning. It's like it's midnight this morning, so maybe while you were sleeping you missed this. A women's college basketball game. I think this was a Sweet 16 heading into the Elite Eight. But Duke with a big buzzer beater over LSU. This is how it sounded on ESPN.
They get it into Jackson. Good if it goes. Around and down for the Blue Devils. Duke advances to the Elite Eight. After missing 2 late free throws, Ashlyn Jackson hits the 3 at the buzzer.
Always love a good buzzer beater. So, man, that's going to be... So, looking at the bracket right now, that women's team, Duke, is going to face UCLA in the Elite Eight, it looks like. Or is this the... No, yeah, it's the Elite Eight. And so the other games, we have UConn Notre Dame in the other Elite Eight matchup, and the other ones are still TBD. We got to see South Carolina, Oklahoma, TCU, Virginia, Louisville, Michigan, and Texas and Kentucky. So that is what we have for you on the entirety of March Madness between the men and women right now for March Madness. All right, coming up, WCU Athletics Hall of Fame Class 2026. Who made it? And a former MLB umpire is embarrassed. Potentially, he's embarrassed for the umpires this year with the automated ball strike system. We'll talk about that coming up next right here on the Sport Trap on 95.3 WCHA. Welcome back. It is 95.3 WCHE. You can listen online, 953wche.com, and on your radio dial at 95.3 FM. Got a couple more minutes leading up to the Chris Nagopian show that will be coming your way in just about 10 minutes from now, a little over that. But for right now, I wanted to, first things first, shout out to the women's gymnastics team. They are going to be, they have secured a spot after after yesterday, and they are going to be in the Nationals finals. They're going to be competing in the Saturday night's team, which is tonight, of the 2026 Women's Collegiate Gymnastics National Invitational Championships. That's a lot. Inside Hollinger Fieldhouse on their North Campus. So go cheer them on if you can. It's a big deal for them, as they're going to be in the Nationals. Also, WCU Athletics Hall of Fame that was announced. The class for this year was announced on this past Monday afternoon. You see 8 members getting in this year. So here are the 8 members. They will be inducted on April 25th at 7 p.m. inside the ballrooms of new SECC buildings, or a building across from Hollinger Fieldhouse on the campus of Westchester University. Cocktail hour will be held from 6 to 7 p.m. with the banquet program to begin afterwards. You can get tickets that are now available accessing the WCU Athletics Hall of Fame registration form on the WCU Foundation's website. And the 8 people that will be selected are Kristen Arnold, class of 2013, that played field hockey. Kaylee LaFleur, class of 13 as well. She was a women's gymnast. Alex Lennon Bradley, also class of 2013. She was a women's basketball player. Mary Beth Green, class of 09, women's lacrosse player. Tammy Leanne, class of 06, women's swimmer. Greta Neff, class of 04, women's volleyball and women's basketball player. Andrew Bradley, class of 98, men's diving. Jamie Rudisil, head coach of men and women's swimming and diving, and did it for 29 years. So those are your 8 names. Shout out to them, and looking forward to that on April 25th. Okay, last thing I wanted to get into, man, and I don't really I don't want to bash this guy too much, but former MLB umpire Richie Garcia is worried about, according to ESPN.com, Richie Garcia is worried about the impact that robot umpires will have on their human counterparts. After ABS, having the automated ball strike system this year, if you don't know, it's you have the Hawkeye strike zone. It's automated. It's electronic strike zone where you don't have full robots or anything like that, but you have this challenge system where each team can get 2 challenges per game on both pitching and hitting side, and one former umpire doesn't love it. He said, "I think it's embarrassing to the umpires that are calling the game. Nobody likes to be humiliated in front of 30,000, 40,000 people." Who was an umpire from 75 to 1999, by the way, Garcia was. What MLB is saying, I don't trust the umpire strike zone, so I'm going to use something that's going to be operated by some computer geek that knows nothing about baseball. And he's the one that's going to measure this and measure that because he's got a PhD in physics or whatever the hell he's got a degree in. I have a problem with that. I think it's ridiculous that you think because we want to get this as right as we possibly can. Look, having the human element in a sense is great, and I think it's good, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how ABS goes this year. But why would you not want it? The human is not going to get every possible call right, and you want every possible call to be right. So why? Here's my thing. Why we probably should just end up just going to robots, and they probably will end up anyway. If there's a way for it to be 100% right in a way, then why not do it? In tennis, they've pretty much gone to it with the hard court system for the most part, and Wimbledon too, I think. They don't even have challenges anymore. You just have the Hawkeye system. Every call's right. We don't have to dispute it. We don't have any problems with any line judges or anything like that. No problems with it. There are still, calls here and there based on chair umps and everything like that, but nothing. There's no calls anymore, and it's tough. I mean, look, nothing's ever be perfect, but this thing this can be perfect though with calls, and it's they're gonna get embarrassed. Okay, well, to me this is helping umpires sharpen up their zone. Sharpen up your zone, man. So, I don't see how it's a bad thing. I think it's pretty ridiculous, though, that he says they're worried about them getting embarrassed. do your job to the best of your abilities, and you're not going to get embarrassed. And I know you can't be perfect 100% of the time, but we're going that way anyway. I mean, we're probably end up just getting robots anyway. So, yeah, that's what I have for you on there. And that is going to do it for another edition of the Sports Wrap. Coming up next is the Kristen Hagopian Show. I'll be back next week, 10 a.m. Stay tuned for that. But Kristen Hagopian Show is coming up next. Talk to you guys later.